Ford Mondeo diesel. Okay, this car's been around for a while, obviously very popular with the British and other countries. This one's currently done 60,000 miles. The roads are wet, so when we do a Nought-60 test later on, it won't be that accurate, I wouldn't have thought. Now, diesels are obviously known for being a little bit noisy, and I would have to say that this vehicle is no exceptions. It's certainly not nice and quiet like a modern BMW or Mercedes, but then again, it's a Ford, so that's as good as it's going to get. Now this is the 6-speed, and it's immediately obvious to me at 60 miles an hour, 2,000 revs, and that 6th gear drops you 500 plus revs straight away, so great economy. Can't even hear the engine now at 60 miles an hour, and you've got to admit, by anybody's standards, that's pretty good motoring. Now the car is very floaty. Okay, we've done a few miles, but it's certainly not enough to be thinking about serious wear issues. The car does float around like a Citroen, which is pretty unusual for a Ford. They're not usually as boaty as this one. The steering is quite heavy, although it's not. It's more taut than heavy. The brakes are dreadful, as I'm sure you probably just determined by the expression on my face. They're grabby, they're either on or they're off. There's no opportunity to apply a gradual pressure at all, which is a nightmare. We don't like that, we never have done, we never will. It's almost like driving a car with drum brakes. It's all about control. When it comes to the braking system, the more control you have over it, the better it is. Brakes don't either come on or off. You should have the opportunity, the ability to apply a gradual pressure, so you can have more control over the stopping and the starting of the car. The moment I put these brakes on, boom, everything locks up. You know, to me that just reminds me that I'm driving a budget car. But don't let my negative expressions now put you off one of these. These cars are built for a purpose, and they deliver that purpose very, very well. This is a product, and you get what you pay for. At the end of the day, the Ford Mondeo of this era is a no-frills package. It does what it says on the tin. Don't expect anything more, and you shouldn't get anything less, really. As I say, you're only really aware of the noisy old diesel when you're pulling away. Once you're actually up to speed, it's fine. Cornering on this car, very heavy. Car doesn't like the corners at all. Even a mild corner now, as I go around the corner, I can feel the steering being pulled. If I was to let go now, I'd end up in that hedge. I'm only really aware of that with front-wheel drive cars. I just don't seem to fit on any other cars. I really don't think having the steering wheels and the driving wheels the same ever balances out. So you do have what I would call torque steer, but I don't know whether it's fair to call it torque steer when you're going around the corners, because it's not the car accelerating, it's the actual centrifugal balance of the car that's making the steering pull. So in the rain, you're going to have a lot of understeer in this car, and this is not a car that you're going to want to thrash around because it's cumbersome and it's almost gormless on the corners. But the car does have a lot of positive points. The rear view vision's pretty good. If you had 3 people in the back, you'd be stuffed, and the headrests do take up a lot of room. I think the wing mirrors are a little bit stingy, could be a little bit bigger, but they're not too bad. Instrument cluster, very clear, it's not obstructed by the steering wheel. The center console here, very basic and very easy to operate. I've only been in the car for 20 minutes, and I'm pretty sure I could get everything working here without having to take my eyes off the road. And that's always a bonus, I think. There's no need to get all that complicated. You don't want to be doing that. When you're driving a car, you want to be looking out of here, and that's it, not down here. Now, I'm doing 50 miles an hour. I'm going to give the car a little bit of a wiggle test now. And you can see and feel the rolling. The car does meander a little bit. But to be fair, it's actually better than I thought. The reason why I do that is it tends to give me an idea what the characteristics of the car are going to be like if I had to do an emergency swerve, like swerving out of a motorway lane at 70 miles an hour. Is the car going to complement my intentions, my steering intentions, or is it going to backfire and counter-affect everything, and the car will be bouncing and swaying and rolling all over the place to the point that we lose control of the car? But I have to say, I've had worse Mondeos, and for an estate and a diesel, this one seems a bit more balanced. And there's got to be a reason for that, and I think the fact is it's got the diesel engine, and that heavier engine seems to augment this car's road handling. So I'd bear that in mind if you're thinking about getting a Mondeo, because I know for a fact that the Mondeos generally do flap around all over the place. So having a diesel in there obviously helps. Yes, I'm not dealing with warm brakes, I'm dealing with what feels like a primitive braking system, and there's certainly room for modification there. Because the brakes are very grabby, it does ruin the driving experience, because every time you use the brakes you really feel the inadequacy of the braking system. So I would say to anybody thinking about buying one of these, first thing you want to do is just look at the brakes, get the brakes off, get new discs, new pads, you know, because that's about as much as you can do. The car is very comfortable though. The seating position, driving position's fine. In fact, the seats are very, very comfortable. General interior, maybe a little bit bland, but it's certainly better than you'd find in a Japanese counterpart. And the plastic used in this car doesn't feel quite as cheap as you do in some of the Japanese cars, especially the Nissans. Next coming up will be the Nought-60 test, and the road conditions are slightly wet. Nought-60 test, 3, 2, 1. Budget car. Don't expect anything more, don't expect anything less either. It does what it says on the tin. The brakes are rubbish. The car does boat about a bit, but nowhere near as much as the petrol would. This is going to be a cheap run around, parts are cheap. If you're thinking about buying one of these, it's a reasonably comfortable car. It's bare bones, there's no luxuries really. You know, actually saying that, it does have heated seats, so it's got something. It's a comfortable car to drive. To be fair, this is budget motoring at its best, and it really is not a bad car, to be fair. It's not bad at all.